This is a massive year for crypto in the UK, right? The FCA and the Bank of England are rolling out their crypto regulation regime this year. And this is the year for the UK to show that it can lead from the front. And if you think about it, there's really two things I think that have been holding back crypto in the UK. The first is debanking. 50% of crypto firms have been denied a bank account in the UK or been booted off of or offboarded from their existing bank account by high street banks. You can't build the future of the financial system here if we don't have that level playing field. So the UK really has to deliver on that level playing field. And then the second part is getting regulation right, and in particular around stablecoins. So this is one where you have the US did a full 180. They're doing a whole of government push around stablecoin regulation, and they're moving quickly. And Europe has already rolled out the Markets in Crypto Assets Act. And so the UK has a chance here to be the third player, but also learn from the other players and deliver smart regulation. That means no punitive collateral requirements, allowing third-party stablecoins to be used as a payment method, allowing interest to be shared with consumers. And I think if the UK gets that right, it can really lead from the front with an industry that I think is going to drive the tokenization of financial services for decades to come.
Is there a risk that the UK gets it wrong as well? And then what happens if that's the case?
There is a risk, frankly, but I think the government, and we've just been hearing from the city minister, they understand what's at stake here and they want to deliver growth. So I think the UK will get it right, but there is a risk if you get it wrong that you drive innovation to other markets. And I think this is such a fast developing space. Stablecoins grew 300% last year. They're already doing more volume than Visa and MasterCard. I think if you deliver smart regulation here, stablecoins can be a foundational part of the payment ecosystem in the UK going forward.
And we'll talk a bit about Coinbase and the product and that sort of side of things and how you're seeing that going forward. But just before I turn to that, in terms of the US landscape, you mentioned this 180. Yeah. You have seen the Trump effect in the States and this kind of move towards pro-crypto, pro-innovation, depending on how you look at it, and I mean, there's lots of things being talked about, like a Bitcoin national reserve, actual legislation being introduced. There's a lot of excitement, I suppose, and energy in the US when it comes to crypto. What do you sort of think of what's going on there, and how much do you think the UK could and other jurisdictions could learn potentially from that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing is that they've made a decision, they put the whole government behind it. So not only do you have legislation working through Congress, you have rulebook changes happening at the SEC, you have commissioners talking to industry players, they've identified a crypto czar who's in charge of delivering this policy. And so it really is a whole of government push. And I think that's something that the UK should look at and think about, how do we deliver an action plan around crypto and blockchain that ties together all the different pieces of government in the same way? Because I think that's really where the US is moving so fast. And then I think the second thing to learn from it is they're skipping the sandbox stage and going straight to, how do we deliver this into the market quickly and at pace? And I think, again, this is one where that's just a growth, that's an opportunity focus versus a risk focus. And I think this is another place where I think the UK can continue to focus there. If you're only focused on the risks and not on the opportunity, you'll move too slow and the market will innovate in other places. And this is what I really want to see the UK get right, is let's move quickly, let's do smart regulation, and let's do it with a whole of government push that's aligned. I think those are things you can take away from the US and apply here. And you don't have to do the same regulation, but you can take those same lessons and deliver extreme value for the UK.